sex or something. Like, it's gonna turn into something creepy. Kind of like, wasn't that a thing with the NSA? They were looking at people's,
Yes.
like, nudes and stuff. Like, that's
Yeah.
so disgusting.
Right. I didn't write this down, but there was an example of like the Brazilian police using it, and one of the people was like watching someone having sex on the balcony, like for an hour. Like that's what they were using
And,
it for.
yeah, also, like, what if one of these people who's watching it is a creepy stalker and they,
Right.
like, pick a person and just.
Right. Yeah. Because there's definitely weirdos in like police forces or like people that probably shouldn't really be
Yeah.
there. Like that happens all the time. Yeah. Not good. Um, but I guess like one of the things they were working on for using in the city, like in 2002, the team in Livermore were working on assembling an airship which could be equipped with it for Washington, D.C. to try and find like the D.C. snipers. But the snipers were caught before they could finish the airship. So I think they scrapped the airship. But like
Um,
it could be used for stuff like that. Um, and Sierra Nevada, which is the contractor that built Gorgon Stare, has pitched its peacetime version of the camera called Vigilant Stare to the FBI and Secret Service. So like they could start deploying it. And BAE demonstrated Argus for US Customs and Border Protection in June 2015, and it markets its 100 megapixel airborne wide area persistent surveillance system
it's
specific.
WAPs.
Yeah. It's like, why did I put all of those words? Um, they market it specifically for harbor security, large sporting events, and anywhere wide area surveillance is needed to help protect life and commodities. Like, I could definitely see it being used for like Super Bowl and stuff.
Yeah, or like music festivals, that could
Yeah.
be a good one. Or like, again, drug trafficking.
Right, yeah. Yeah. I mean,
But
there's some good uses for it, but will it, is that worth the,
eventually it's gonna be, you littered.
right.
Automatic fine because we know exactly who you are. But maybe that would help people stop littering. I don't know.
Yeah, but eventually it's gonna be used in a not great way, for sure.
Right. It
Plus,
probably already
like,
is being used in a not great way.
yeah, because like it's also perspective. Like someone might think like, oh, this is the perfect application for it, but other people might be like, well, that's kind of encroaching on my privacy or my whatever. Like there's two sides to
Right.
everything too, so I don't know. But many of these companies right now, like they keep an airplane or prop plane in order to provide the service of wide area surveillance that can be deployed within 24 hours, like anywhere in the US in case of emergencies. So like they're like for hire by anyone that could pay them too. So it's like not just a city or law enforcement. Like maybe some
Elon
of them,
Musk.
right, yeah. Right. Anyone who had enough money. I mean, some of the companies they themselves have rules that they put in place to be like, no, we're only helping, maybe the police or whatever. Like some of them have rules themselves, but not all of them. I'm sure some of them
Right.
would take any money, right? Like,
Eventually they will. I mean,
right.
if there was enough demand and it was good enough for the bottom line, they'd probably do anything.
Right,
They'd
yeah.
probably sell it to foreign. They probably already are selling it to foreign.
Well, I don't think the US based ones are, but again in the book it said like there's a Canadian one that's made it and they have sold it to people that the US won't sell it to. So,
Oh my god.
like everyone's gonna have it, I guess. Or they already do.
See, this is why you don't make things like this.
Right. Yeah. They didn't take the warning of the movie. God. But yeah, these companies are actively marketing their services for domestic surveillance and like actively trying to sell to law enforcement, and they're like determined to get the all-seeing eye into as many law enforcement agencies as possible. And it's almost certain it will eventually succeed. And also a little interesting tidbit, they've surveyed corn crops for Monsanto. So they've been hired out by
Oh
them.
my god, no.
Right. Yeah. So
But
that's
couldn't
fine.
that be used to prove? Okay, because like a big thing with Monsanto is they'll genetically test field
Yeah,
corn in neighboring fields, but that footage could be used to prove that a farmer didn't
right.
steal seeds or whatever, but
Yeah,
I doubt it would ever be. Oh my god, not Monsanto. Of all the companies to have it, Monsanto?
exactly. Yeah, I had to throw that in there because I knew you would not be happy about that.
Oh my god, you do know me well.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so problematic. Also, it's like the the biggest companies are going to be able to pay for it. Like the ones that are being like attacked by Monsanto to prove their innocence, they can't afford this, you know? Like
Right.
this is not going to be used for like the underdog. It's going to be used for the big corporations to keep
Oh
them
my
on
god.
top.
This is giving me a sense of existential dread, and I can't even escape by running into the woods because they'll still be able to see me.
Yeah, they will be able to find you. There's no escape. It's scary. Also, okay, getting into the legal stuff. Right now, it's not illegal to take photos of private property or people from a public space. Like, you can stand on the sidewalk and take a picture because that's public space. It doesn't matter that you're
Yeah.
taking a private area, like, a house. I guess if you saw someone right in front of the window and they're naked, that's probably a different thing. But right now, from a public space, you can take pictures of anything. And all of the airspace above the US is classified as public space. So they can take as many pictures as they want from the air. And that's totally legal.
Hmm.
And also, like, they don't have to tell anyone that they're doing it because it's a public space. Like, you don't have to announce it to the civilians. And like police can also use aerial surveillance without a warrant or special permission since it's public space.
The way I'm having a mental breakdown right now.
Right, yeah. This is bad. Like if
How did you read this book? Were you freaking out?
I was freaking out. I was like, "What?" Because no one like you think of, surveillance and stuff, but you don't think of this to this extent. Like this is crazy. And this is already there. Like this is already being used and it exists. Like crazy. We need to put laws into place to like protect it, I feel like. Because also some of it, the law, I didn't write this down either, but some of it's like if it's a technology that theoretically like anyone could get, which they're saying this is a technology that theoretically anyone could get, then it's like allowed to be in the public space and stuff. Like then it doesn't need any special permissions because it's like something that anyone could have. But this costs like $20,000 for like an hour of surveillance. So it's like, no, this technology is not anyone could have it. Like, this is like special stuff. So this should be a different class and like more
Oh
protections
my
in place.
god.
Yeah. Dude, I want to become like an activist for anti-whammy or whatever.
Yeah. Let's start a group. Just kidding, we'll probably get assassinated.
Well, no, there are people fighting it. I'll get to that. So, like, there are activists against this because this technology's been around since like the early 2000s. So,
Right.
like, there's definitely people like actively saying, no, we need better protections and better laws and like advocating for that kind of stuff. So,
It's always the law,
right.
not being up on the times. I feel like when something like this is created, there should be a group of people simultaneously
Yeah,
creating laws that cover it so that you can't, so that it doesn't. Especially if it's military, like they know
right.
it's going to go to the public eventually, and I feel like it's the government's duty to protect us from the evil that they like create.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, none of them have thought to do that or didn't want to do that. Like, it's citizens that have heard about it and are becoming like activist groups, which is stupid. But at least there's someone out there. I kind of want to join them, but I need to research more about that. But just a couple cities that have used it for sure. in June 2017, there was like a photo mission test. So they call them photo missions, and then they're allowed to like get the clearance and stuff to go because they're just like, oh, it's a photo shoot or whatever, and that's fine. So they tested a plane going up in the air and being controlled by the camera to like keep a target in the center of the frame of the video, and like this was over Albuquerque. Because like, oh, maybe I didn't really say this. Did I say this? Like, the point of this new technology is like, so you can zoom in to an area like really far in, but then you're not, like, it's still videotaping the whole area.
So you could like see it all at once.
Right, because the old problem was if you zoomed in, you lost the rest of the area, but this like still takes all of the area, but you're just like one person zooming in, and then you can zoom out and zoom in somewhere else, and it's still taking a feed of the whole area.
And I assume they have like multiple people.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Watching, zooming in and out.
Right, you kind of get like a little area and say this is your area. But like say someone wasn't looking like at that corner, but something happened, you still have all that footage. Like that's not lost. So it's like a literally constant surveillance.
This makes me sick.
Yeah. Also, so I don't remember when this was, but in Baltimore, Ross McNutt did a test there. So, like, he's one of the biggest advocates for this technology, and he's been striving to demonstrate that whammy will not only crack unsolvable crimes, but also deter people from engaging in criminal activity in the first place. So he's like a big...
But at what cost?
Right, exactly. At what cost? But, like, when I was reading it, it seemed like he was getting, like... He was, like, a little vigilante. Like, he... So in the book it said, while running the community support program in Baltimore, McNutt and his wide area surveillance team investigated sexual assaults, burglaries, and traffic accidents, even when nobody in the police department had instructed him to do so. Like, they were looking, and then he'd be like, oh, this happened, and give it to the police. And they wouldn't even have asked for it, or maybe knew that it happened. So, like, I feel like that is not good. Like, I don't like that.
Like, he's just doing it for funsies.
Well, no, he was getting paid. So, like, I mean, Baltimore wanted it because they have, like, such a high rate of crime, but then they couldn't get it approved. But someone else, like, heard about it and, like, they were like, oh, I'll pay for Baltimore to be able to have this, like, himself. I don't know who that was. I forget. It said it in the book, but, so someone paid for, like, so many hours of surveillance on behalf of Baltimore. But then, like, this guy that was running it would still, like, be like, oh, these happened, here you go. Because Baltimore is trying to, like, be like, okay, we know these crimes happened. Were you videotaping this area at that time? And go back and look at the footage. So that's how they were trying to use it. But the police department didn't disclose this first to the citizens, but also to, like, the mayor or, like, the board.
Oh my god, how do you do that?
Right. Well,
no one,
because it was like privately funded, so they didn't have to disclose it. But like it said, some of the stuff they found, like that's the only evidence they have. So they didn't end up pursuing it because they didn't want to have to say, "Oh yeah, we used this technology." So like it was even like a waste for some of it. It's like, and then eventually it was disclosed, but. I mean, Ross McNutt said many times in the book, he was like, he wanted it to disclose right away, but it was up to the police. But, like, he doesn't want it to be a secret or anything.
Right.
But, like, yeah, that's pretty bad that the police were, like, not.
And that's what makes it fucked up.
Right. And then, yeah, they couldn't even use some of it because they didn't want it to make it known. It was like, well, why are you even paying for it then? I don't know. Or whatever. But yeah. And then there was one surveillance company executive that said even a camera 1/10 the size of the Air Force's Gorgon Stare is still thousands of times more powerful than that employed on regular police and FBI aircraft. So, like, that's crazy. But even 1/10 of it.
Again, I mentally cannot comprehend.
Yeah, it's, like, crazy. I don't know. It sounds like science fiction, but this is happening.
I know. It makes me really sick.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to throw up. I don't like it.
Right. Yeah, but it's also, I mean, it has been used for some good, things already. Like in 2017, the Forest Service awarded a $4 million contract to lease a new infrared camera